Reverend Kim Wellard, priest in charge of St Matthew's Endeavour Hills, is meeting with her coach Ken Morgan, coordinator for the implementation of vision and strategic directions for the Anglican Diocese of Melbourne. Each month they meet to set goals, talk through problems and find ways of growing the church. Ken hopes to create a culture of coaching within the church so that people help one another to unlock their full potential.
Coaching and mentoring are frequently confused because they look the same. Two people sit down and have a conversation about things. Coaching is different from mentoring, in that mentoring is usually about people's development, and it's usually an older person helping a younger person. So it's largely about the road ahead. A mentor will use their own life story, whereas coaching is all about the person being coached and their performance. So it's really talking about what they're trying to do, what are the opportunities and difficulties that they're facing, how do they make the most of their situation in order to get the best possible outcome. So it's far more functional.
When I'm coached, it's a place where I can step away from what I'm doing normally in my church and sit with my coach and sort through an issue. What's the issue for today? And then I'll select the issue and I'll say, look, this is what I want to work through today. And then we'll have a conversation. He'll ask questions at different times that leads me to a place where I can find an answer or a way forward or something to do that can help the situation that I'm in. So I find it really empowering. I find it, because the decisions come from me and the questions he's given me, that it means more to me because it's my way forward and it's not something that's imposed upon me or something that someone else says I have to do.
So I'm trying to help them think about how they can get the outcomes that they've identified as their goals through the program. Other times I'm just coaching them on helping them to become more effective, and it's whatever they put on the table. The heart of coaching, it's about awareness and responsibility. So the awareness piece is helping the person you're coaching figure out what exactly is going on. So helping them, to use Susan Scott's term, interrogate reality. And often if people can understand more clearly what's going on, the way forward becomes really clear. So help them to develop some awareness and then help them to take responsibility. Now, a lot of vicars take too much responsibility. They take responsibility for themselves and then they overfunction and take responsibility for all sorts of other things in their parish. So helping the vicar to figure out, what am I responsible for here? What's my job and what's stuff that I just have to leave in the hands of other people. So clarity about what's going on, gaining awareness, and then clarity about where are my responsibilities and how do I fully discharge them and only them.
Sometimes it could be a pastoral issue, sometimes it can be a personal issue, sometimes it can be a whole church issue. There's no boundaries to the problem that I bring to my coach. So it can be anything. Okay, sometimes people think, vicars turn up on Sunday and do the stuff on Sunday, they do nothing during the week. When you're in charge of a middle-sized church like me, you have leaders to look after and enable and train, you have sermons to write, you have pastoral issues. At the moment we're in the middle of vision casting, so I have a vision casting team that I'm handling. Sometimes it might be something that comes out of the blue. It could be a funeral, it could be like I've got someone ringing up in the next couple of days about a baptism. So the week's very fluid and you have to be in a place where you can be ready for that.
Frequently the problems circulate around how do we grow our church, and growing a church is basically a missiological proposition. So we spent a lot of time talking around who you're trying to reach, what are you doing to reach them, how's it working, what do you need to do more differently. Because we use the Pathways methodology as a way of understanding local church mission, frequently it's around how do we make our pathway work.
So it reminds me, if I haven't done them or not, to have a look at, have I really addressed that or not? So I like the fact there's an accountability. I'm also a coach. I was selected in the first coaching cohort, and I coach others. And just to be able to empower people in this way, it's a great tool to have in your leadership.
In the coaching world, the kind of holy grail is to develop a coaching culture. So that's what most people who are advocates of coaching are trying to help organisations to do, and that's what I'm trying to do in the diocese, so that it becomes just normal for everybody to have a coach in the same way it's normal for professional athletes to have a coach. So you wouldn't find a tennis player on the pro circuit who didn't have a coach. That would be crazy. You You're not serious about being a pro tennis player if you don't have a coach. And I want ministers to sort of be at the stage where they realise not having a coach is crazy. You're obviously not serious if you don't have a coach.
There's a spiritual component to coaching. As a coach, if I'm coaching someone, there's a responsibility for me to pray for them and to keep them in my mind. There's a spiritual component to when you're coaching someone. There's a discernment sometimes God will give you of, where's the way forward or what's the next best question to ask. Even though they're not voicing something, it'll be something that's spiritual that you'll be saying, God will give you a question. So, what about this? Or have you thought about that? Or, so there is a huge spiritual component to coaching.
So we're hoping to make it an organic movement that's driven entirely by people seeing the advantage in their own life and then wanting to pay that forward in the lives of 2 or 3 other people. And in that way, if we can train maybe 80 coaches, every minister in the diocese will have access to a coach.
Being coached has been really exciting on one level, but it's been enabling too. I've found that as I've been coached and as I've coached others, coaching was something that put other things that I knew together. It put them into a framework because I have a heart to enable people and coaching is a great tool for that. And I'd had so many different ways, but now coaching's another way. So I really love it for that because I think it's really important as ministers. Part of our job should be to enable others. I think if you're a minister in the church, especially if you're on your own, it would be really ideal for you to be able to go and get someone to coach you. It makes a difference. It helps you to step away from the problems that seem so personal to you at the time and puts them in a framework where you get a chance to solve them.
Anglican Media Melbourne.